YouTube, what the Total War Napoleon crap is going on? Yes, it will be Napoleon. Give me just a second to tab back over. Have a replay sent in by a fan, and I have not had a chance to play any battles the last few days. It's been very busy. This one should be good, though. It is a 4v4 on Napoleon Total War, and those are absolutely epic. Hugely epic. In fact, I did one a long time ago that I absolutely loved. I called it the Battle of Many Frances because almost everybody played as France. It was an epic battle. So much fun, and I'm hoping that this one is too. So we're going to launch it up. You can see the players there, and the player who sent me this email with the replay let me know all the armies and stuff too, which is very helpful, so glad that they did that. It should help me greatly. So I do have that over here in front of me. I have to wait and get tabbed back in. So yeah, I'll be able to call off all the armies and make it simple. The player that sent this in is playing as Britain, and his name on here is Crow Farmer. Looks like. So yeah, this is him here. And anyway, he's. I'll go ahead and start calling off the armies while they're getting ready. Oh, I should have had the unlimited camera set up. I did not before I came in here. Whoops. Oh well. We'll be all right. So he's playing as Great Britain. His army is 2 King's German Legion Lightfoot. Okay, the rules. So the map is Ligny. The rules are no arty, max 2 light infantry. So he's got 2 King's German Lightfoot, 3 foot guards, 1 Coldstream guard, 2 horse guards, 6 foot, 1 King's German Legion foot, and then Major General Picton. So he's only cavalry is these heavy horse guards, which is an interesting choice. So he's gone infantry heavy. So let's find the next player on their team, which is another British player, and this is going to be CSA Hellfire Jack. And it looks like he is going to have 2 rifles with 1 experience, 2 foot guards, 1 15th Hussars, 1 light dragoon, 1 fencibles, which is a militia, 7 foot, 2 King's German Legion foot, and 1 general staff. The next player down in the deployment is Russia, and this is BG-38. So 2 Russian Jaegers, 8 musketeers, 4 lifeguard foot. Wow, that's going to be some punishing power there. 1 militia, general staff, and 2 mounted rifles. So these guys are going to be able to shoot from horseback, which is going to be a handy tool for Russia. And let's see, the last player deploying should be France over here. And no, I cannot pronounce French stuff worth a darn. You just have to put up with me. So 2 Voltigeurs, 2 Fusiliers of the, or 5 Fusiliers of the line, 1 18th Regiment the Brave, 4 Swiss foot, 2 Grenadiers, 4 Chasseurs à Cheval, and then 1 guard Chasseurs à Cheval, and a general staff. So that's going to be France. On the other side, I will introduce those armies to you, but on the other side, we're going to have two players playing as France, one as Prussia, and another as Russia. And I will introduce their armies as soon as the battle kicks off. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward so we can get to that point. And we are there. So let's start off over here with the Russian player. The Russian player for the other team is going to be Andrei Dittmer or something. So 3 Prussian Jaegers, or 3 Russian Jaegers, which is actually breaking the rules. 6 musketeers, 2 militia, 4 grenadier, 1 lifeguard foot, 1 dragoon, 1 lifeguard horse, 1 general staff. And France, this France, I believe it's the right France, 2 Chasseurs, 3 old guard, which is going to be insane. Let's see, young guard, old guard. Wow, this guy's got some infantry. He's got a Swiss foot, the 18th Regiment, and then over here, I mean, we're seeing 3 old guard and the young guard. That's pretty insane. Yeah, he's got some serious infantry there. So yeah, let's run through that again real quick. 3 old guard, 2 lancers, Dutch guard, Lancer, 2 cuirassiers, and 3 Swiss foot. Actually, that's the wrong army. No, yeah, that's the right army. So yeah, and Prussia here has 2 Silesian Schutzen, which are long-range rifles, 4 foot guards, 4 grenadiers, 2 musketeers, 2 cuirassiers, and or cuirassiers, or whatever you want to call them. General is Genbard von Blücher, or Blücher, however you say it. I can't pronounce German either to save my life, so forgive me. And then the last player here is France, 2 Chasseurs, 4 Polish Legion, 4 Swiss foot, 3 dragoons, 3 young guard, 1 guard seaman, and a general staff. Let the jokes about the guard seaman begin. Now this Ligny map is actually the map where I played the Battle of Many Frances, in fact. I do believe the sound is just a little too low. Let's fix the sound before we get any further in. thinking right about in there. Okay, we're already getting shots over here, so the got some. These are either Voltigeur. No, those are Chasseurs. They're firing across the river into the King's German Legion Lightfoot. The Lightfoot is now set up, though. The Young Guard is going to be in range of the King's German Legion. It's going to unload on these Young Guard. That's terrible for this French player. And I'm guessing I mean, really you're just trying to lock up this choke point. There's 2 units of foot and the King's German Legion Lightfoot, and they're being supported by a foot guard. If this foot guard can get right up here in this forest and fire across, it's going to be able, well, that is Young Guard, never mind, and it's supported by a Chasseur. This foot guard is going to be committing suicide here, I think. He's going to fall back a little bit with these guys and push up more, Coldstream Guards. That would be helpful as long as he can keep them safe from the French light infantry. Let's see, there's another bridge up here, and it looks like the British have it staked out with their rifles, literally planting stakes in the ground. That's going to make it tough for France to get through. And then there's a town up here, and it looks like that a lot of units going on over here. Russia versus France here, firing across the river. This is looking awesome. Got some Voltigeur there, some Swiss foot firing across into musketeers. The Swiss foot taking a bit of a beating. Some more Fusiliers back here, but the Russians taking a pretty big beating here too. And it's going to get opened up on by this Swiss foot over here. And the Swiss foot are pretty good at shooting. The Polish Legion are going to be better on a charge like in melee, but the Swiss foot ought to be a pretty good shooter unit just for standard line infantry. They're not completely in range at the moment. Let's see what these are. Musketeers lining up. So yeah, lots of potential fighting going to be going on in the center. Let's go back down here. This choke point down here is of pretty big interest to me. Let's see who's winning it. It's going to be hard. I'm never going to be able to catch all of this battle. See these foot guards unloading. Yeah, the Young Guard might get overwhelmed. Foot guards here. The Coldstream Guards pulling back after taking some volleys. Guard Seamen here. So these guys, a tough unit, but they're getting picked apart by the King's German Legion Lightfoot. Let's see, Young Guard, another Young Guard. So lots of tough units here. But I mean, if these guys try and cross the bridge, that Young Guard's going to pick them to pieces. The King's German Legion, though, is doing a number on these Guard Seamen, and they're being completely wasted. And they're going to push up, actually, which is bad, because now they're going to get fire support from all these other units. But the Chasseurs are actually tearing up this foot guard. It seems like they would want to be targeting the Coldstream Guard. Coldstream Guard going to push up into the fire of Guard Seamen and 2 Young Guard, or just 1 Young Guard here. The Coldstream Guards is an excellent unit, but I don't know if it can take this kind of fire. Let's kind of watch it here, firing across her very sweet graphics on Napoleon. It is a beautiful game. Let's see, so mostly the engagements right now, you can see the mini-map here. If I make it larger, you can see most of the engagements are just taking place in the flanks here where it's blinking. So let's minimize that back down and watch. We got some French cavalry, coming in to intercept the British. They did just kind of barely made it into square formation. The British Horse Guards ought to do well against these French Dragoons. And if these units have to go into square, it's going to be bad for them. The Brits are actually gaining momentum over here. This foot right here is putting a beating down on the Young Guard. The Coldstream Guards is beaten up but alive. Young Guard's now being pushed back, and there's another foot guard in good shape. So France is going to lose this choke point, and that's going to allow, and again, if we go back to the mini-map here, this is going to allow the British to push forward. This is good. You need a breakthrough of some sort to break the stalemate on the bridges on this map. I really like this map. It's fun. It's got some very difficult choke points, but it is a fun map. Now, the French right here, smart move, going to fall back and start firing potentially into this fight. So the British, yeah, they're going to push their units up and try and help. This is a good move. They're going to need to do that. France making a last-ditch effort to hang on to that choke point because they know they're going to start getting outflanked if they lose it. And let's see. That's a Russian general that was killed over here, apparently. So down on this is all the way on the other side of the battlefield. Yeah, I was looking at it wrong. That's where we were just looking down here at the bridge. And now we're down on the other side of the battle. Looks like France has beaten back Russia in this cross-river fight here. You can't actually even cross the river here, but both sides just lined up and started punishing each other across the river. These French cavalry are being held too close to their lines. They're trying to get double line fire, I think, is what they're going for, but they're taking all the missed shots from this musketeer, which is kind of rough on them. But I mean, France won over here, so they've pushed back Russia with some pretty heavy losses, and it looks like Russia's going to push forward with some lifeguard horse, or no, this is a dragoon. Oh, lifeguard horse and a dragoon. There's stakes up here, those infantry squares. This horse is just going to get mowed down. Now it's on the choke point, and that's the challenge of these bridges, is when you go through them, you have to either go and go quick or not go at all, or else you're going to take an absolute savaging. So I mean, the Russian player at this point has some grenadiers, which is a cool unit. It could potentially be used to nice effect on a map with buildings and choke points, but it's going to get torn up pretty bad. That's the main engagements that are going on. Again, there'd be more blinking if we had engagements going on down here. Let's flip over to the other side of the map. So this is the other side of the map where the Brits have broken through. This bridge is like almost off the map, but it's here, and the British force is pouring across the bridge, and they're going to be able to start wrapping up the French flank. We got some horse guards trying to chase down a chasseur, or whatever it is. Anyway, like I said, can't pronounce French to save my life. Horse guards are going to come in and get a piece of this action. Try and zoom up, get you a close look at the fighting here. Napoleon is absolutely a beautiful game. It's a bit of an old game, but it's still a beautiful game. I think it's way back to 2009. Here comes some more French dragoons. The horse guards probably are going to die at this point, but it looks like they've done a pretty good job. So now France is in trouble because it's going to have to defend a flank, and there's another British player that could cross the bridge. So that's the horse guard that's running away there. Let's see what's happening here. So the enemy Russian team may be doing a bit of repositioning. Not always easy to tell who's on which team here. I think this red here and the emblem, that's how you would tell which side it's on. If it's blue, then it's on the friendly team, and then if it's red, there you go. And over here we got friendlies moving across into the buildings. When I say friendlies, I'm referring to the team of the player who submitted this. So huge forces built up in the town here. And the Prussians and the French over here are going to be hard-pressed to do much about this. There's some British rifles squaring off now with some Silesian Schützen. You got to love that name. I don't know if these guys have line of sight. They might just fire into the dirt. But the Silesian Schützen were getting hit by these rifles. And these British are piled up in here. Foot guards. Whew. German Legion Lightfoot, Fencibles. Yeah, I mean, taking those buildings is going to be tough. If you had artillery, you could just destroy the building. I actually had artillery when I played on this map, and artillery on this map is kind of fun. I remember it being really cool. Like, there's artillery on both sides, like just sending shots, pounding back and forth. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, the British player over here is still moving up. Let's fast forward a little bit and see what the next phase of this engagement is.
This building has fallen to the enemy.
And let's see, it looks like, so there's something important going on. I'm going to go ahead and hit play and kind of describe what's going on. So if we just take a look at this mini-map here, this is where we originally saw the choke point with the bridge right next to the edge of the map. You can see these are the British forces here, and they're moving up. And so what this is doing is it's forcing France to fall back to join up with its with their teammates, and it looks like they're going to try and maybe defend this hill, and they're going to start being assaulted from multiple flanks, likely. I mean, the red team at this point, if they're looking for a strategy, I mean, you'd want to start pushing this flank, see if you can get over here to this bridge, try and maybe get some pressure on this bridge. And you've got the town, and you might be able to start trying to put some long-range pressure on these troops up on the hill. And then this British player right here is just going to want to run to put the pressure on the French player who's falling back. And then the other British, this may be the same British player, they're pushing across the bridge and working their way to compress those forces in. So nice use of the... I mean, basically, winning an early engagement like this on this map means that you can then take control of a single choke point, and the team that gives up the first choke point is going to be at a big disadvantage, at least in my opinion, because they're going to start taking losses and have to fall back, and as they fall back, it's going to be bad. Now, this Swiss foot here is actually getting shot some by their own Silesian Schützen on their same team, so got to watch the friendly fire here. There's a Fencibles being used to come up and put shots down. It's kind of a throwaway unit, and just remember that you guys will shoot the ground on Napoleon. So let's go. Looks like there might be about to be an engagement over here. Yeah, France is pushing up. Russians just defending the bridges at this point. They have this, I can't pronounce that to save my life either. They got a grenadier, and that's a militia there to protect. And then you got Russian Jaeger and another militia over there to protect. Let's see, France has got some Swiss foot sitting in the farmhouse. This Russian is a friendly Russian player. I say friendly, blue team Russian. And this is a red team Russian. So here, they got to be careful here that they don't open up one flank to the other. It'd be nice to put pressure on these grenadiers so that the French player can push that bridge. But at the same time, you got this whole enemy army that could kind of come down the hill. But the nice thing is you got these houses providing like line of sight cover, and that's going to make it difficult for this army to bring its full firepower to bear. Let's see. Don't see any flashing just yet. As far as engagements go, ooh, look at this British cavalry here charging across. 15th Hussars. This is a sweet unit. Love the 15th Hussars. They're going to chase this unit that's trying to get away. It's a Swiss foot. And then the Hussars have caught them. Their morale is wavering at this point. I love the Hussars in this game, and honestly my favorite unit probably in all of Total War was the 2nd Hussars and the Death's Head Hussars on Empire Total War. Those units were absolutely awesome. And then the Winged Hussars, I mean Hussars in general were just awesome in Total War. I haven't made any Empire videos in a long time though because they keep getting flagged for like copyright on music. I've talked to Creative Assembly about it. They said it shouldn't be happening, but it does happen. I may have to talk to him again because I can't really make any Empire Total War videos because of that. So it gets kind of irritating. I'm actually going to see if I can turn the sound back up just a smidge. We'll turn the music back up a little too. Sorry, doing this in the middle of the video. Alright, so it looks like the, well, it's funny because the blue team down here is the red team on the minimap. Talk about confusing. So, I'm going to say, though, when I say blue and red team, I'm talking about what they are down here. So, blue right there, red. So the blue team here is going to be pushing this bridge. They're going to have a firepower supremacy, these Fusiliers. Going to be doing good against the militia and the grenadiers. The grenadiers are going to be low in numbers, and this Swiss foot is going to really tip the scales of this fight. That's the French player who's trying to rush the flank. His guys have got, or the British player. So, yeah, saw all the red coats and correct myself there. So yeah, some nice action here. The Russians are not going to be able to hold that choke point. These Silesian shoots in here, though, if they stay there on that hill and get some, like, I think a good deployment point would be to like spread your Silesian Schutzen out on top of this hill so they can cover the bridge, and then they should have fallen back with those grenadiers and militia and put them here, basically down further on the hill where the Silesian Schutzen could shoot over their head and get like a double line shot. But otherwise, they're just going to get mowed down in a head-to-head engagement. The Russian units look so cool too. They're going to get mowed down by that Swiss foot across the bridge. Not good for the grenadiers to be trading fire with the Swiss foot. Russian player still holding over here, but again, now the French player is going to be able to put pressure. The Prussian is sending grenadiers. Definitely not the best choice. You can see the Silesian Schutzen getting some shots there on the Swiss foot. And really kind of a stalemate in the center because they're waiting to wrap up the flanks, which is probably a good call. The British player is going to be very tired. There's a bit of a cavalry engagement out here. Horse guards taking on dragoons. One would expect the horse guards would be owning that, but they're somewhat few in numbers, so they're going to retreat. Horse guards retreating. Is that allowed? I thought it was for like king and country here. You can't retreat from the French unit, can you? I'm probably stirring up all kinds of generations old infighting now. The American, you know, pushing the Brits and the French at each other here. Of course, then the French would probably turn around and push the Americans and the Brits, and so on and so forth. We've got a nice little triangle. But hey, we can all be friends, right? Looks like the horse guards are definitely not going to be able to pull that off. They did pretty good, but they were too few in number. Let's take a look over here again. So, yeah, the Russian is getting some reinforcements from the Prussian. Now there's foot guards, grenadiers, all kinds of units. So now this bridge is not so takeable by the French over here. There must have been a cavalry unit that rode on in. Yeah, it was a mounted rifle. Yeah, it's right here. It's still alive. So it's trying to get into the back of here to create basically a diversion to get some of its troops in place, which is not bad, but now they're going to have the Swiss foot bearing down on them. So these Russian Jaegers are going to be in bad shape. Not all of these guys have line of sight, but these guys right here do. But they're going to shoot at the cavalry, so it gives the Russian Jaegers a chance to escape. But this has allowed the Russian to move up and to bring some more units to bear. Let's see, Russian Jaegers are pounding these Voltigeurs over here, and they're going to lose that fight. But this Swiss foot still trading very nicely with 2 grenadiers over here, but 2 grenadiers will be enough to wipe it out. But you've got an 18th regiment, the Brave, and these guys are going to come in and try and show that they're brave by chasing off the Russian grenadiers there. There is another unit across the way. Let's see if they get used against it. Yeah, it looks like they're going to take a few shots at it over there. So yeah, this fight's starting to wind down. I'm gonna, let's see, I don't want to miss anything important. There is some exchange of fire going on here between the Fusilier, the line, and these Russian Jaegers. The Russian Jaegers have a range advantage, and really, strategically, you'd want to place these guys further back so that you can use their range to maximum advantage across the bridge and try and lure the enemy into a choke point. So when you have the range advantage with this Russian Jaeger, place it further back here to where they can't get at it with their Voltigeur, and it forces them to just try and cross the bridge, and then you can have units ready to pounce on them when they cross. So that would be the best way if you're using long range. So a long range unit, not normally what I would recommend for Napoleon, but in the right situation they can be used well. This Russian Jaeger is mostly going to be shooting into the ground and wasting its ammo on that angle, but they are keeping the enemies busy. Let's see here. So the French player has finally fallen back. This whole map is just a series of bridges and choke points. It's really quite beautiful. Very nice map. Lots of good terrain, lots of key choke points. The British player, though, going clear back here and swinging around, so they're going to be able to put pressure on the French from two sides and probably force them back from that position. Let's go ahead and fast forward and see. I don't have any idea how to tell how long this replay is, but let's see what's going to happen here. So the French player sending some dragoons back across the bridge. They must have been up here harassing the British troops. British troops are probably exhausted too. I would imagine they are. Just going to fast forward on through here a bit, because I'm imagining there's going to be somewhat of a stalemate. Attacking too early in Napoleon obviously can be catastrophic. The guns fire faster and a little more accurately in Napoleon than they do in Empire, so attacking head-on can lose you so many guys so quickly that it can end up being bad. Now, right here, this militia and these Jaegers standing off with the superior forces here is probably not a good idea. These are foot guards, and all you've got is a musketeer, militia, and a Jaeger. And more musketeers moving in, but their line of sight is going to be quite obstructed by the buildings and the terrain here. So the foot guards are going to be in a great position on top of the hill, and they are going to be putting some pretty serious pain down on the Jaegers. But they're taking losses too. But there is a cuirassier up here, and that cuirassier, if it charges, there's French units back here to back it up, to back up this militia, so it's actually decent bait. So this charge by the cuirassier is probably going to be foolish. Nice move by the French here in setting up the backup troops. So the militia is going to draw in this cuirassier, which is now going to be shot to bits by the French units back here. So that Fusilier, the line, causing some pretty big damage to the Prussian cuirassier, but it's going to keep moving, and if this Russian unit does not get into square, it's going to destroy them too. Heavy cavalry like this is going to be good, but again, it's taking fire from that French unit across the river, and it did get into square because of the weird charge that it had. So the Prussian cuirassier is getting jacked up now at this point, but still not a bad position right here for the Prussians and the Russian teammate on the red side. They're trading fire across the river, killing quite a few Swiftfoot, but the Silesian shoots him will run out of ammo eventually. So we should see a general push. The Brit over here, very tired, probably resting their troops. Let's fast forward again, see if we can kind of get to the next phase of this battle. Eventually what we should see here is a pretty epic last stand for the red team, who's going to defend this hill against the advancing blue team, which has now taken all the choke points. But, you know, some clever defense, getting the right first shots, you know, lining up your units in the right spot can definitely turn the tide of a battle in Napoleon, though at this point I would give the blue team a pretty big advantage because they're going to be coming from all sides. But, you know, again, there's still a hill and choke points for the red team to use. The militia's back. The Russian Jaeger's still firing. Got some grenadiers, foot guards still up here on the hill. Hopefully they're not just getting shot for no reason. Looks like the British are lining up on the riverbank, but they're going to have to cross the bridge. Here they're going to get across unchallenged. Now, what the French could do here is try and counterattack, and I probably would. So if I were the French player, I'd line up my troops kind of like right here, try and counterattack the guys who are crossing, but stay just far enough back to where these guys can't support, and try and drive the British back, because they're going to kind of get pinned into this little peninsula here. And if you could get a decent position where these guys couldn't reach you, so I mean their range kind of reaches out to like right here, and then these guys are going to have range to kind of like right here, which means you can kind of bottleneck this position right here. and hopefully kill. But I mean, there's foot guards in here, so it's going to be a lot of guys, but they're not going to be able to spread out and get the best lines of fire. But these light foot right here are already putting fire over here on this Polish Legion. They need to pull back. So the French player here is going to be in a bit of a tough shape. I mean, their position back here is okay, but I mean, eventually they're going to get overrun. This was another choke point here too, but I mean, there's so many blue team units here that they couldn't really hold. This kind of little spot right here is a bit of a choke point, but they're not going to be able to hold it. Now these Chasseurs are going to get shot up by the King's German Lightfoot. I'm guessing the German Lightfoot is going to take the better of this, plus there's some rifles supporting over here. The rifles are going to fire very slow, but they do have nice long range. They should be able to just back up and keep shooting. Let's take a closer look at the rifles here, get you some nice, hopefully a little bit more cinematic views of the rifles firing in here. Very beautiful effects on Napoleon, even though it's an older game. Let's see what's going on over here. So the French are pushing. There's a foot guard here for the Prussians. This unit is just going to be pizzoning the French units over here. Without a guard unit, this foot guard should do well, though it should be spread out a little more to maximize its firepower. But it's going to do pretty well regardless. So the foot guard going to put down a lot of shots here, but I mean the French units are spread out a little further, so they'll probably be a little more useful. Now a blue cavalry came over as a Chasseurs à cheval. The foot guards are not in square formation and probably won't be able to get into square. I don't think the Chasseurs à cheval can take these guys down in melee, but they'll cause it quite a bit of damage. Yeah, they've kind of forced it back here, and it may stop firing, so they need to push this Fusilier to get shots. Another foot guard. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. So excellent job by the French player here, getting some fantastic shots on the foot guard units. That's going to hurt the Prussian badly. It's going to force him back. And all there is a single grenadier here, so the French player should be able to push through that bridge and start to really put some pressure. But I mean, there's some young guard and stuff up here that could put pressure back. Let's see how the British are doing and kind of getting out onto this peninsula. It looks like the French player has given them more room, and this is allowing the British player to spread out more. Now again though, see, they're kind of bottlenecked. These units can't spread out and max firepower. So again, that's where these units, they're kind of in rough shape. This King's German Lightfoot here is being very well used by the British player here on the blue team, getting shots up here into the French, keeping them from being able to really choke the British right here. So it might have been smarter to just fall further back up onto this hill for the French player rather than taking shots from across the river. These Coldstream Guards right here, these are some infantry, probably some of the best infantry in the game, right next to Old Guard. And I'm sure the British viewers watching would argue that they're better than the Old Guard. So yeah, now we got a frontal engagement going. This British Fencible taking some fire from the hill, probably being used to kind of pave the way. There's a rifle unit in this house that's going to be getting shots up into this 18th Regiment, the Brave. And they're kind of getting picked apart, and the hill now is being assaulted from all directions. But, I mean, Ligny has a lot of choke points, and you're seeing that it's kind of bottling up units, and it's going to make the fight take a little bit longer because you can't just get wide open and max out your firepower here. French player now trading some fire here. Polish Legion into Coldstream Guards. Another Polish Legion firing at foot guards. This fight's going to favor these guard units, though they are very few in number now.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
That may be one of these units right here, but if they've used all their ammunition, like this it may have been that King's German Legion Lightfoot. The light infantry can fire out quite a bit of their ammunition, and if one of the players runs out of ammunition, it may turn into a melee brawl of sorts here. Let's see, we got the Silesian Schutzen probably getting close to out of ammo. The French player now commands the choke points over here, though there is one Lancer Cav here left for the French player on the red team. But yeah, the red team is dwindling. They just lost these Coldstream Guards over here. That's going to hurt, but this foot guard here is almost full strength and just laid a punishing volleying down on this Polish Legion. The Polish Legion, a very cool looking unit too. They got those sweet hats there. But yeah, those foot guards across the way are going to really hit these Polish Legion hard. This is not the kind of fight that Polish Legion want to be in. They're a decent unit on the charge against standard line infantry, but up against a foot guard, whether firing or in melee, it's going to be kind of rough. Yeah, you can see the foot guard across the way there just mopping those guys up. And the noose continues to tighten on the red team. These guys have their hill, But I mean, there's going to be some overwhelming forces inbound. Got a proper engagement going here. You can see the British troops, though, are bunched up, and the troops up on top of the hill are going to be able to take advantage of that, being able to fire shots down the hill. Though their position may not give them the best line of sight to fire down the hill, and they also could have used the hill to do double line fire, meaning you could have put one unit down here on the lower portion of the hill and another one above it to provide double line fire, and then that way the units coming up the hill would have been getting hit by double fire and not been able to return it. So, gotta always try and take advantage of the double line fire in Empire or Napoleon when you get the chance, because it greatly increases your frontal firepower and your ability to defeat units quickly. So now we got a pretty bloody fight going on here. Britain's got Foot Guards. I wonder if this is, yeah, Old Guard. There's one Old Guard up here, another Old Guard. Polish Legion, yeah. So these French troops over here are going to be brutal. This is the Old Guard. These guys are the big dogs on the block. Check out these rifles, or these King's German Lightfoot charging forward into melee, trying to stop the Old Guards from firing. And they are screaming very loud, too. The Old Guard scares enemy units that are nearby, though, and so they're not going to last. And the Old Guard are just putting a punishing beating on the British player back here, and so they're actually getting beat back. And then here comes a cavalry counterattack from the French. Looks like a Lancer Cav has come down in here, and it's going to hit some of these British infantry. British cavalry inbound too, trying to stop it. This is going to be the 15th Hussars coming in to try and stop the Lancers. These guys did get into a square formation, but I mean, with the Old Guard up at the top of the hill, it's going to be rough. One of the enemy generals died just now, apparently. And it looks like that the French, though, are starting to break a little bit back here. The Prussian trying to help hold that line, but I mean, the British are taking a beating. And here comes an 18th Regiment. I thought it was going to melee charge, but they're just going to pull up and go point blank with the British here. This is going to be awesome. Check this out. I don't know if they meant to go into melee, but they're not firing back, so they might be out of ammo, so the British are just putting basically a firing squad down here on the Brave, and talk about brave, just standing there and taking it. Brave, but not smart, maybe. Here they go, they're going to go into melee. Let's watch that. They're going to go into a foot guard, though, so as brave as they are, again, brave but foolish, maybe. The foot guards are going to waylay those guys in melee. So yeah, the red team is kind of disappearing. Looks like this French player for the blue team has gotten behind enemy lines here. No, that's just a routing unit. Never mind. I thought there was still some here. So yeah, here's some red team units still on top of the hill. They're about to get overwhelmed. More French red team units here at the top of the hill waiting. This fight over here, though, is one of the most gruesome. The British team here, or the British player here, just taking a savaging, trying to beat the Old Guards off this hill. Those Old Guard are going to have put up quite the fight. I mean, the British player, though, still has numbers over here. Here comes another French cavalry attack. Nice downhill charge. The Lancer Cav. The Brits gonna get into... Yeah, they got into a square. The square formation, all you have to do is click it before the cavalry get there, and you generally get the benefit of it. So that's why you saw some of the Dutch Guard Lancers rear up and start to fall over. Plus, they've got this King's German Legion Lightfoot. But I mean, the Old Guard here, getting shots down into the square is going to be devastating. And this another Old Guard here at the top of the hill. Now, the Old Guard used their ammo pretty quickly, too. So something to watch out for. The French player over here, too, using cavalry to force squares on the British. If this Old Guard can capitalize on that, that would be brilliant. But they're just kind of slowly walking forward. I don't know what... Oh, they need to be firing into this British square. Fire into the square. What are you doing? Oh, no. Yeah, forcing squares and then shooting the squares is always a great tactic. The red team, the French Cheshire, counterattacking here. There's a foot guard and square, though. It's going to be a tough unit. It's getting shot over here by a Swiss foot, too. So these foot guards are going to take a bit of a beating for having been in square. The Old Guard, though, is not firing, and now it's pulling back. Very odd. I'm not sure why that Old Guard's doing that. And now these Old Guards are going to get gunned down. The General Staff trying to charge in and cause squares to form. Though the British player's not even going to form square. The bodyguards should now, yeah, just keep going. Try and get down to here. The Major General Picton is what they're going to do. If they can kill Picton, it might help out. But I think the Old Guard are finally going to give in here. They can't take much more of a beating. The British have overwhelmed them by numbers. Here comes an old guard into melee with a foot unit that's in square. Being in square will give it a defense bonus, but I do believe that the old guard is going to give these guys a pretty savage beatdown in melee. The old guard have some pretty nice melee stats. One of the better melee units in the game, if I remember right. Well, the French general just died there trying to kill Major Picton. And so Major General Picton is still alive. This old guard doing great in melee, crushing the foot unit, but there is another foot unit nearby. So the red team put up a valiant fight here on this hill, but they're just going to get outnumbered. Overwhelming odds against them here, so let's see what's here. Swiss Foots putting up a fight, and there's still a young guard out here holding back these Grenadiers of the Line. I'd almost just leave the cavalry to deal with the Grenadiers of the Line and line up this unit here to see if you can put some pressure. These Fusiliers of the Line moving up to maybe just take shots. They may be out of ammo too. Yeah, so the British here, look at this battlefield over here. This was a nasty fight. Look at the British down here at the bottom of the hill. Just an ugly, ugly fight down here. Brutal fight. Awesome fight. The kind of fights that we've come to expect from Napoleon. Here's what's left of the old guard that was beaten down on the hill in the Polish legions. So they put up a heck of a fight, but in the end it's not going to be enough. This old guard almost fighting to the death over here in melee, doing a pretty fantastic job. But they're going to die. They're now outnumbered, being shot in the back. There's way too many units for them to be able to handle. And let's see. That's pretty much it. The Swiss Foot over here are some of the last holdouts, and then this young guard. The young guard, pretty tough unit. Not as good as the old guard, obviously. But and they're going to start eating flank fire from across the river from those Grenadiers of the Line. But they'll get a few decent shots into the flank of these French troops. Yeah, the Fusiliers of the Line taking a bit of a savaging there. They forced a square on the Grenadiers over here. Those Lancers are probably going to want to get away from that. But at this point, there's not a whole lot the red team can do. They're going to die. So yeah, very few red units left. The general here, which is a French general staff, is about to die. Might want to do a YOLO charge. And the French here are about to start getting shot in the back. So these musketeers, though, taking some brutal fire from the young guard. Awesome fight. Definitely appreciate Crow Farmer for sending this in. Great fight. I love Ligny, the map. Definitely brings back memories of playing some epic Napoleon battles on here, and this was an epic battle. So what went wrong for the red team? Early on, when they took the engagements, they needed to be more careful. They needed to use their long-range units to, better effect. Again, when you have this map with all those choke points, it's all about making sure you get the right leverage going. So if you had those long-range rifle units, keeping them back so that light infantry can't engage them and neither can line infantry, but picking at the enemy from across the river, eventually kind of either pushing them back or coercing them to cross. It's definitely a game of cat and mouse when it comes to crossing the rivers, because if you commit to it too early, you can get yourself shot to death, and if you wait too long, you can get yourself shot too much too. So I mean, it's definitely there's a French general staff that's still fighting up here pretty heroically. So we'll watch them go down in a blaze of glory. But yeah, that's going to be the end of that general staff.
We have killed their generals.
General's down. Victory to the blue team here, and lots of kills here for this French player. They did an excellent job, and good job here by Crow Farmer and the other players as well. This French player here, man, he got some kills for the red team too. Did a great job. Let's take a look at the unit statistics, sorted out by best kills here. This is going to be for Crow Farmer's Major General Picton picking up 6 kills, getting his sword bloody. King German Legion Lightfoot, excellent job. Foot Guards did good. Fun battle, like I said. Hope you all enjoyed a little throwback to Napoleon. It's been too long. Appreciate Crow Farmer for sending this in, and I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you back soon.